my next guest is Michael Foucault. Michael. Nice to meet you, Michael.
Hello.
Oh, where'd you get a nice bling, Michael? Huh?
I'm all pimped up.
Oh, very nice, Michael. Very nice. Mr. Foucault, when exactly were you born, and where?
I was born on October 15th, 1926 in Portier.
That's very interesting. Where I'm from, you're pretty damn old. Well, who exactly are you, though?
I am a French philosopher, historian, and sociologist.
When did you exactly get interested in post-structuralism?
I don't consider to be a structuralist or a post-structuralist. I actually first got interested into psychology after being treated of my acute depression. I later got interested into philosophy later in the 1960s. I shared my thoughts. I think that there was definite fundamental structures that could be explained by the human condition, and secondly, I thought that it was impossible to step outside of discourse and survey the situation objectively.
Yeah, that's very interesting. It's all good, and I'm sorry that I must have offended you or something. I didn't really care. But have you lived in France all your life?
In the last days of my life, I was actually in the United States.
Well, when did you die, sir?
In June 25th, 1984, I died in disbelief.
How did you die?
I died of AIDS. That isn't funny, I don't know. I'll kill you someday.
What? But sir, if you died of AIDS, aren't you supposed to be dead? I mean, like, dying is dead, right? Well, next guest, after these commercial breaks. Allow me to introduce my next guest, Professor Nathan, the leading professor of post-structuralism. Professor Nathan, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you, Dr. Phil. It's a pleasure to be on your show.
Thank you for your time.
Very welcome.
So can you please elaborate more on deconstruction?
Well, I'll start off by saying that deconstruction is taking a term that most people would agree as being normal, and I guess putting it in different terms. So, for example, I'll give you a couple examples. Actually, most people will agree that a book is better than a movie. That the movie is based on the book, right? Well, if one were to say that the Winnie the Pooh movies were better than the books, that would be a reverse of the usual assumption that the book is better than and more original than the movie. Another example would be that Joker is cooler than Batman, which is a reverse of the hero notion, in that most people would agree that the hero is cool. There's another one that Native Americans are more heroic than cowboys. Well, that reverses the Western.
More heroic than cowboys. I'm from Texas. I know all about cowboy heroism.
Hey, I'm just using this as an example, okay? Don't get all up on me, okay? Just chill out, okay? You're being too spontaneous here.
No, that's just not cool. Not to fit that. You don't diss Texas in Dr. Phil's show.
Well, I'm very sorry. Can I please continue with my elaboration?
If you must.
Thank you. So, as I was saying, back to the Pooh example. Our sense is of the Pooh books is derived from the movies. You could say that because it deconstructs saying that Pooh movies are better than the books by putting it in a different term. So instead of just saying that the books are better than the movies, you could say that our sense of the books is derived from the movies. Another one, the Joker in Batman. Batman is a special kind of villain called a vigilante. So like that, you could put it in different terms so that other people would agree with it. And cowboys and Native Americans, one could say that cowboys' heroism cannot exist without the bad Indians. So, as much as you love cowboys, they wouldn't be here without the Indians. Because they wouldn't be so cool, because the Indians wouldn't have been there, and then there would have been nobody for the cowboys to fight.
So, let us in on some insight about post-structuralism.
Okay, so here's the deal. First,
Go on.
I want to talk about the primacy of theory. Post-structuralism theoretically model is mainly focused on criticism using institutional and political forces found in society. In effect, it often uses two relatively similar terms, describing it as something compatible, yet one can change to the other. To explain, one example would be text and speech. Text and speech is compatible in the fact that speech requires words for it to be spoken. However, one can become the other in fact that your text can be converted to words spoken through mouth. On the other hand, your speech, which is your train of thoughts, can also be written down. Second, I want to talk about the decentering of the subject. Post-structuralists believe that the human self is just an ideology concept that is established by the means of how the social environment works. Initially, an individual is considered to be purposeful, singular in their motives and ambitions. However, whatever the role a society environment plays, post-structuralists believe that this has direct influence over an individual, and thus a single person's perception of self will be different than another. For example, one person in an economically stable environment may consider that individuals tend to be hardworking, innovative, and along with other things. But another person growing up in lesser conditions may perceive individuals to be lazy, unfortunate, and difficult to agree with. The next thing I would like to talk about is the fundamental importance of the reader. The reader has become the focal point when it comes to interpreting literature. Instead of considering that all the text has one main objective, other than the authors of course, or one main message in the text is trying to convey, but rather can have many different meanings to the point that there's no limit to the interpretations. This often comes in the form of a concept known as the reader response theory, in which different interpretations can be made by the mere fact that individuals can read the same text in different ways. For example, reading "What did you do?" in a curious manner can immediately make you think the character was interested in what the other person did.
Go on.
But the other person's reading in an angry tone can lead you to think the character was angry at what the other person did. Often, the context of a literature can help, but if a person reads it all in a certain way, the message that comes out may seem different. So the next thing I want to talk to you guys about is post-structuralism and deconstruction. Post-structuralism includes methods of analysis such as deconstruction, which establishes that the theoretical idea is all meaning found in literature can be varied, and depending on the one who's observing it, deconstruction in effect is breaking down an already accepted idea in literature and looking at it from many different perspectives. So as a quick recap, the three main features are the primacy of theory, the decentering of the object, and fundamental importance of the reader, along with deconstruction tied in.
Oh, you're done. Okay. I didn't hear a word you said, but it was very, very insightful. I'm sure it was. Kathy will tell me later. Okay. Next guest.